Good morning, Flosstube. It is Helen D. Today is Tuesday, May 2nd. Thank you for spending some time with me to talk all things cross-stitch. Welcome to any new subscribers. Welcome back to anyone who's been with me since the beginning. It's been a while. I haven't really talked to anyone today, so we'll see how my voice holds up. I have water. Emmy's asleep. I did not get her own water, so fingers crossed she stays asleep. We'll go from there. It's been 2 weeks. Last time I talked to you was right when my son was on his trip, and thank you for all the comments. He had a great time. He said he was nervous when he went, but he was really glad that he went. So they all had a great time. They were tired. They got back very late on Thursday night of that week. Friday, he was a zombie all day. By Sunday night, he'd caught up enough on sleep because they were pretty go, go, go. So he said his favorite parts were Gettysburg and Mount Vernon. He'd never been to either of those. We've been to Washington, D.C. a lot. My sister-in-law lives there, so we've been there quite a bit. He wasn't a huge fan of New York. I think it was probably just a lot, and they did a ton of walking the days they were there, and it was 85 degrees, which, you know, here we've barely been in the 50s, so that was a big difference in temperature and to be walking. And no offense to my New York friends, he says it smells. Which is all relevant because his school is directly next to a cow farm and a coffee roasting place. It smells too, just in a different way. So I'm sure the 85-degree day didn't do any favors to New York either, right? Anytime you've got a big city like that and it gets hot and steamy. So he had a really good time. We're back at it now. I think we have 6-ish weeks of school, possibly 7, and then we're done. We'll be done mid-June. My parents are back from Florida. I went and picked them up last week, so they're home for the summer. I haven't talked to anyone today because my husband's gone. He had to actually go to Chicago for a work trip, and he never goes on work trips. In the entire time we've been married, which will be 16 years this year, I think this is the second time he's gone on a work trip. So he's gone today, he left early this morning, and then he'll be back late tomorrow night, and that's it. So it's a quick turnaround. Last video, I had 13 fully finished objects. Objects. I don't have that many this time. I still have a lot. But that was kind of, I don't know if I'll ever have 13 in one video ever again. So I had mentioned that because he was still gone for a couple days, my son, I was going to pull out things that needed sewing, so the soft finishes. And I pulled out 8 things and I got 7 done. So 7 FFOs is fantastic. A couple of these again were older things that had just been sitting in the basket. So I finally pulled them out and got them done. I've been trying to remember to use the hashtag FFO Challenge 2023, which is Jen at Two Tell Stitchers and Michelle of Penny's Daughter Shares. They started that hashtag this year to kind of just encourage you to pull those FOs, finished things out, and get them fully finished in some way, whether you do like I did and do sewing or throw it in a frame, take it to be framed, you know, whatever you want to do with it, just to get them out and fully finished. So I've been trying to remember to use that hashtag. There's some great stuff on there. So I'm going to start four of the things I no longer have. 2 were finishes for my sister, and then the other 2 were birthday gifts for Barbie and Misty. I took little videos of those so I could show them. I took them separate because I didn't know if the birthday gifts would arrive before I filmed, but they have. So I'm gonna pause here and insert those, which will be 2 separate videos to show those things. Hi Flosstube, Past Helen here. I just have a couple of fully finished things that I'm about to pop in the mail, and I want to get a quick video so that I could show them to you once they have arrived. They are both versions of this chart here. This is Heart and Hand Round Red Sampler. This came out, I think, last year. Doesn't have the dimensions on it on the back. It's 57 by 55. It's meant to be done on a 32 count and would be about 3.5 inches. I did mine teeny tiny. I did mine on 25 count over 1 so that they would be pretty small. I think they came out to a little over 2 inches. So this one is done in a red, not the called for. I just picked one from my stash and I made them into tiny drums. They kind of look like little pies, I think. So this one, these are for Misty and Barbie for their birthdays. This one is for Misty. And then just an example of how you can take a chart, even though it's charted one way, and stitch it completely different, right? Like Misty loves a good red sampler, right? She loves reds. So this one worked great for her. But Barbie is more of a pastel green kind of girl. So here is the same chart. Sorry, the light up here is not great. The same chart stitched in a green from my stash, and then I did the little accents in blue. I had a lady dot trim. I think it was a Carla, I don't remember. It matched perfectly. And I had a little fabric that matched. So again, this is it's a little pie. That wasn't my intention to make it look like a pie, but it looks like a pie. So I have 2 little pies ready to head out in the mail. Hi guys, it is Pastelin here. I just had a couple of finishes that I had done for my sister that I know that she will be getting before I film my next video, so I wanted to show them. This is her version of Strawberry Fair. She stitched hers on, I believe it was a 20 count, and it is very small. Mine was on a 14. I should have grabbed it for the comparison because hers is a lot smaller than mine. So she used, I believe, a color and cotton floss conversion that she just pulled. I had this pinkish fabric that matched perfect and a little bit of Lush Lawn Lady Dot trim. So I just made that into a pillow for her. Because I put the trim here and the little charm, I found the strawberry at Joann's last year, so I'm not sure if they have. I haven't seen them yet this year. I did not do an all the way around trim because I thought it would just be a little much. So here is her Strawberry Fair. And then the other piece I finished for Donna. This is a Barbara Anna, and it's from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitch, and it's one of the, obviously an autumn one, but I couldn't tell you what year, but fairly recent, within the last couple of years. She stitched this on a 16 count. I don't know what the fabric was. It's this pretty blue. And I was looking at it for finishing, and I noticed that, this is hard with one hand, these kind of Quakeries were arched. So I thought, stand up. So I finished this for her as a stand-up. I put a black and white, a black and orange. I made cording that matched the colors in here. And it is all done for her. Now I kind of want to stitch this one for myself. Now I have to find that issue so I can stitch it for myself. But those are the 2 finishes that are going back to live with Donna. I was really happy with how all of those turned out. And I do have a little more information on the stand-up I did for Donna the cat. It's actually called Trick or Treat. It's by Barbara Anna. It was from the Fall 2020 Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, which you can get those PDF copies of the back issues. That chart has also been released as a chart, and Carla has one. She has one in stock, so this is it, Trick or Treat by Barbara Anna. So it's available through stores and online shops. So it is 67 by 89, and she stitched hers. Also, I found out Donna's was on a 16 count Ada, and it was Dreamy from Mystic Fabrics, and it's a really, really pretty blue. And that one is still available to order from Misty who's getting ready to go on vacation. So she has all that information on her website about any kind of delays. So those were my finishes that no longer live here. And then I have 3 that are here. So the first one is from this chart. It's from Barbie of Pedal Pusher, and it's How Does Your Garden Grow? And this chart she released last year, and I thought it was really cool. It's 11 different small sections that you can then pick and choose. Do you want to do a long row, a couple? I ended up doing, mine is very similar to this. You could do just one and frame it. So all 11 of these mini charts are in here, and they're all 40 by 40 for the little sections. So I picked 2 of my faves. So I did kind of the gazebo, greenhouse. I think it's a greenhouse. The brown one was the gazebo, and the little cherry blossom tree. And then I finished it. This is the same fabric that I used on Donna's Strawberry Fair. So I finished it with a piece of lace, and then this is a crocheted flower. Sandy Alba of Stitchin' with Sandy actually had found some of these at an antique shop, and she sent me some. So I just sewed that on there, and this one's good to go. Because I had done all of this, I left a trim off so it wouldn't be too overwhelming. That little greenhouse is not showing up in this light. So I think I used a light blue Lugana, 32 count. That's that one. The others, I did 2 stand-ups for myself. The first one you kind of had seen coming, and it is, I'm gonna tip this a little so it's not quite right on me. This is Candy Claus from Satsuma Street. So this is one that's done, it comes as a kit with perforated paper. But I decided I didn't want to do him with the perforated paper. Originally, I was just going to do him as an ornament, but as I got stitching him, I thought, you know what, he's going to be good size. He would be an adorable little stand-up. They call for, these are beads. These are sequins that are held in place with a bead, and the chart calls for more sequins. They're like in his beard. I left them off, and wherever it called for it, I just put a white stitch. And I think the bird's eye was a bead. There was more. I left them off. So I just used some fabric on the back that matched and the bottom, and I made a cording using 2 of the called for colors. So I think he's adorable. I hope she comes out with a Mrs. Claus, because I think they'd be really, really cute together. So there's that one. This fabric was from a grab bag from Mystic Fabrics. It's a 14 count Aida, and it was a solo die. So that's not something, if you could get more of that, I would have already ordered it because I thought it was a great color. And then the other one, this was called Bumble Honey Co., and it's from Cherry Hill Stitchery, and I should have pulled the picture up, but I did not. It's one of her printed charts. Deanna has PDF only charts and printed charts, and the printed charts you get through distributors. So they would be at an online shop or an in-person shop. So this was, she had actually sent me the chart last year to use as a giveaway, and I stitched it, and then I no longer have it because we gave it away. So there was more. There was another row of like a decorative, and then I think some bee skeps. It was bigger, but I had shortened it and then given again the arch. I thought it would be perfect as a little stand-up. So it's short. It's actually a little shorter than Candy Claus. And again, I just used 2 colors that matched. I think it was as close as I could remember because I don't have the chart anymore for the bee skep and this flower to make the cording. And that one's all done. So this one I'm excited to put out for summer. I haven't switched over. I still have my Easter stuff out. I'll get to it. So those were the fully finished items this week. I also did a little bit of framing, but I'll show those next time. I didn't pull them out. So One thing I wanted to show that a couple people asked me about. Last video I showed Blooming Tiny Town on the basket from Target. And people asked, how's it on there? It's on there with pins. When I finished this, I did a flat finish, and then on the back, I just used double-sided tape and put on a piece of felt. And I purposely left, like you can see how floppy it is here at the end, I left like a 1/2 inch with no double-sided tape so that I could access that felt. And I put one of those bulb pins on there. And then when I hang it, I just turn it so that the pin head is down. That's hard to show. The pin head is down and then the bulb part goes right across. It is a little slip slidey, but once you've got it set where you want it, you can just slide it over and center it up and it's good to go. So I figured that's how I did all the ones on the baskets, and that way they're easy to swap out. Like there's nothing permanently mounted. The first one I attempted to put on there with some kind of tie. It didn't work very well. So the pins worked the easiest for me. So that's what I've been going with. Finishes. I have 3 things that I finished stitching, and they're all Satsuma Street. They were all my whips last video, and I did manage to finish all 3. So the first one is another one of those ornaments that comes as a kit, meant to be on perforated paper. I chose to stitch it on fabric. So this is Partridge in a Pear Tree. Mine is on another piece of scrap bag from Mystic Fabrics. This one's on a 16. I have not done any of the beading yet because I stitched it on this fabric that I think I can fit another one on the other side. And in case it's in a Q-snap or whatever, I don't want to crush it. So when I store it to be finished, I'll put the beads and stuff like with it. I'll put it in its little bag and then pull that out later. The other 2 that I finished were the bigger ones. I had been working on, I started it before. When my son was gone, I decided while he's gone, my whip that week will be Pretty Little New York from Satsuma Street because that's one of the places he went. I didn't finish it while he was gone, but then I'm like, I'm really close, so I kept it out, and within the next week I had it done. I ironed for you guys, but don't get used to it. And it was like, not a thorough ironing, but it's better than it was. So this is Pretty Little New York from Satsuma Street. I stitched mine on a 14 count Picture This Plus Helix, which is a light gray. It's a little blown out in my light, but it's a light gray. So that one is done. I did it on a 14 count because all the ones I've done have been on a 14 count and they're all in the same frames. I think it's an 11 by, I don't know. I have 6 of the charts and they were from AC Moore. So when AC Moore said they were going out of business, I went in and I made sure I had enough frames to fully finish them all the same. And then the other piece I had been working on that I had kind of set aside to work on Pretty Little New York was Verano, which is her summer kind of sampler. This one's got a long string on it. So I just finished this one a couple days ago. So that one is done. This one is on a 14 count Picture This Plus Ariel, which I don't think is a color that they're able to make anymore because there was a blue dye that over COVID people couldn't get, and that's it. So I had a piece left. Whenever I have a fabric that I know is hard to get again, I have to kind of think, is this Ariel worthy? Like, do I want to use my one piece of fabric on this? But I did on that. So they're called to be done. I believe all of those seasonals are called to be done on a white. I don't like stitching on white Aida because it's so, to me, it's so stiff. The hand dyeing process softens the Ada. Some people like a stiff Ada because they hold it in hand and they want it to have some heft. I like a soft Ada. Donna doesn't like a soft Ada, so see, it's everywhere. But I do, that's my preference. So I chose a color that's pale enough that it's just like a hint of color. I know I did the autumn one and I did that on a very, very, very light tan because it matched the autumn colors. So, whips, I only have one and it's a brand new start. Technically I have two. I have a new car project and it is a new little word freebie, but I'm not done with it yet. I'm close, but not quite. So my one new start whip is Honey Fair. We did the Strawberry Fair Sal through Carla at Cobweb Corner, and when October House released this chart at Market, a lot of us that did Strawberry Fair were like, well, let's keep going. So this is Honey Fair by October House Fiber Arts. We're using the hashtag HoneyFair SAL as well as October House Fair SAL because Robin has said that the fairs will be a series. So the last one I did like a mix of Fancy Floss and DMC. This one I went through and I had all the Fancy Floss, so I used the Fancy Floss. That's kind of how I've been doing things. A lot of us that have been in floss clubs and stuff, we have flosses that we need to use. At least I do. I have flosses I need to use. So sometimes if I don't have the called for, I'll look at the chart and be like, can I use the DMC for that? Can I swap something for that? Like, what else can I use without having to buy more flosses? So that's what I did. This one, I had them all. So the strawberry, I started on the leaves and I saved the strawberry for last. This one I launched right in. Launched in with the B-Scap. So I kind of, one of these brown lines was the center point. So I started there and did like the main two kind of diagonal diamond patterns. And now I'm just kind of bebopping around. This is also a piece of Mystic grab bag fabric and it had this pinky stuff on it. So I thought it would work really well. I'm hoping the wings show up. So that is Honey Fair. Let me put that away. Right, I had to take a drink because now I'm going to do some talking. So, let's talk sals. Let's talk stitch-alongs. This is a good time to announce that Carla and I are ready for our next stitch-along. The Honey Fair was not an official kind of one that Carla was doing, but this one is. So we were talking about, we did Strawberry Fair at the beginning of the year. What do we want to do like over the summer and then maybe something again later in the year? So we'll have like 2 or 3. And we liked doing smalls because I like a small sal because then you feel like you can join in and you can take part and you can have the fun and it's not a giant commitment. That said, I did sign up for Satsuma Street's new sal, so we'll talk about that later. That is a giant commitment. This one is not. So this sal, we reached out to Jan Hicks and said, hey Jan, would you like to do you want to do a sal with us? Do you want to form an alliance with us? So she said, absolutely. She said, I actually have a new series that I'm looking to start this summer. Would you like the first one? So we're doing a stitch along and it will be exclusive to Cobweb Corner for the stitch along, and then Jan will do it as one of her wide releases. So it is called Tranquility, and this is what, I don't want to take this out. This is what it will look like, pardon the glare. So it's really soft summer colors with a beautiful blue bird, with some Quakers. It's really pretty. It's really sweet and summery. So this is Tranquility. So we'll go over some of the details. Jan is going to do a video later this week that she's talking about. She has her new releases coming out. She has a really pretty flag design, by the way. So she'll talk more about the chart and her inspiration and things like that in her video, and I'll link her channel down below. So this will be available from Cobweb Corner as both a printed chart and a PDF chart. We decided, you know, when we're doing these stitch alongs, if it's exclusive, we need to have a PDF because I don't want to leave anyone out that's in Canada and doesn't want to pay the shipping or overseas. I get it. I get it. And I don't want to leave anyone out. So it will be available as a PDF right through Cobweb Corner. Like I said, it will be exclusive to Carla for a period of time, and then it will be available other places. So Carla is starting to order supplies. And what we did last time that worked pretty well is she put together a Google form that I will link below. And you go on there and you click off, yes, I'm interested in what you're interested in. I'm interested in a PDF chart or a printed chart. And then she'll have a couple options for flosses where it will say, I'm interested in most of the called for fancy floss, or there's an option for, I'm interested in most of the called for DMC. So we decided this time we're not doing an official, like we're not calling it a Helen D conversion. When she does the listing, she'll have the chart, and then she'll have the called for fancy floss, and then she'll have a section with the DMC conversion because it does include a DMC conversion. Jan has that. So you can kind of pick and choose. You know, if you have some of the called fors and you only need some of them, just choose those. So that's how we're doing it. So you fill out the Google form, and then that lets her know how much to start ordering in. And then when things come in and she's ready to open sales, Carla will send an email to everyone who filled out the form because it gives you put your email in to say stuff is in, sales are open, and then she will give a code for an extra 10% off the chart and all of the flosses that you buy at the same time as the chart, like all of the ones that you pick and choose. And her regular prices are already discounted, so it's an extra 10% off. And then when we kind of give the people that filled out the form, the next time I do a video, I will announce the code so that if you've decided after we've kind of done the initial round of ordering that I want to join in too, she'll get some extra stuff. You have the code to join in. So the back of the chart, I really like how Jan puts together her charts. I'd never seen one of her charts in person. So her back cover page, she has, you know, a whole bunch of information, and on her colors, you know, she has the symbol and then the called for colors, the DMC conversion, how many I couldn't read that, how many strands you use or called for, depending on your fabric, how much of the skein it uses, and then the stitch count. I love this because when I'm converting a chart, I look through the chart and I'm like, is that one of the main colors? If it's one of the main colors and I don't have it, do I want to order that one color? Do I want to sub out that one color and I want to make it something really variegated? So like you can see, I kind of went through this and sorry, my eyes are bad, you guys. Like this one is 28, I think that says stitches. Well, if it's 28 stitches, I'm going to use the DMC. So that's kind of how I went through to be like, well, what do I have? What do I need? You know, what do I just want to use the DMC? So when Carla does the listing, she usually posts a scan of the back page with all, this will be there. I think she usually posts like the half page. So it would be all of this as well as this, which is if you stitch it on different counts, Jan has already done the math for you of how big your fabric will be. I love that. Hers is meant to be done on, or she stitched it on Mojito Smoothie 40 count from Grace Notes, which looks to be a really pale blue-green. So this would look great on any kind of neutral. I'm actually looking, and I'll pull some fabrics to show. I'll do a separate video like I did for Strawberry Fair, closer to kind of go through some of the colors and stuff like that and some fabric options. The only thing to keep an eye out for is this color, which is Gentle Arts Pebble. You want to make sure it shows on your fabric or swap it out. So there it is. I know I had more things. Hold on. Oh, Carla's gonna place her initial kind of first order. I'm sure she'll be placing several, but her initial first order at the end of this week, once she kind of gets that initial kind of burst, it will take a couple, 3 weeks to get things in. Some of the flosses, this calls for 10 flosses. 4 of the called for are Gentle Arts, and Gentle Arts just takes a little longer to ship. It's a smaller company, it takes longer to get stuff in. So she'll do the best she can. Carla is actually going to be closed later this month. Her and her husband go help some of their friends that are farmers do the spring planting. But her plan is to get a lot of these orders in before she leaves so that then stuff arrives. And when she gets home, it's there and it's waiting, and she'll be home in plenty of time to open sales and get supplies out before we want to start. And I think I said we're hoping to start June 13th, which must be a Tuesday. That's probably a Tuesday because that's when I film. So I think that's it for now. A huge thank you to Jan for doing this with us, you know, and to let us kind of launch like an exclusive salad. It's fancy. And like I said, I will link the Google form. I will link Jan. You can check out her new video. I think she's filming tomorrow or later this week. That was her plan, as long as everything goes to plan. And we'll talk about that more in the future. Whew. Emmy's not here. I get my water still. Two more little updates on retreats. Stitch Maine is July 15th. It's a one-day kind of local stitch day. There's only like 5 spots left, so that's going fast. I will link it below. Stitch New England, October 13th and 14th in Mansfield, Massachusetts. There's like 20 spots-ish or less left. I will link that below. Purchases, I have one thing. I actually needed some flosses from Carla, so I put an order in for some flosses and I picked up this chart. This is a Mirabilia and it's Renaissance Mermaid. You'll probably notice I've kind of been buying a lot of Miras, yet I've only stitched one. My reasoning is it's kind of like when people buy all the Blackbirds because they're afraid that the Blackbirds are going to go out of print, though I literally just saw that a whole bunch of Blackbirds are being reprinted, which I'm sure will be everywhere. I'm afraid that some of these Mirabilias and Nora Corbetts are going to be discontinued. So I'm like, if I love them, I should pick them up. I might never stitch them. I could always resell them, but I can't if I don't have it. So I picked up Renaissance Mermaid. Then yesterday in the mail, I got 2 things. I got a great cute little thank you card from Vicky. Oh, that's a bee in my bonnet. I should have known. That looks very much like an It's So Emma. And then Mary had reached out and said that she had an extra, oh, she sent me these fun buttons I wanted to show you. They kind of spilled out of the little envelope. She sent me these cute buttons and some of them are butterflies. They're little wood buttons, and I thought these would be really cute on top of a strawberry. So I'm gonna set those aside. I'm gonna put them in something that they don't spill. So Mary said that she had an extra Just Nan mouse kit. She actually sent me 2. So I'm gonna keep one, and then we'll do one when we do giveaways, we'll do one. So it is Queen of the Needle mouse. When I do mine, I probably won't be able to put the needle in it because of cats. So, and it's got all the stuff. So thank you, Mary. I'll leave one of those out. And then we'll move right into giveaways. Yoink. One giveaway from last video was Spring Littles. Kathleen Shortell. Kathleen, you left a comment on the video, but I never got an email from you. So let me know, shoot me another email so that I'm holding on to that for you. Because I know you saw, I just didn't get it and it might have just gotten, you know, email. We had, last video, we did all the Prairie Schooler Santas, so I have a list here. So Carla had sent 2 copies of the new one, which is the 2023 Snowy Night. These are going to Barbara Boyd and Susan Curiel, C-U-R-I-E-L. Then I had some that viewers had sent in to kind of use as giveaways. So I went through and I pulled out all the Santas. The 2020 is Amy McDonald. Santa's Revisited 5 is Jessica Otter Rose. And then the set of all of the Secret Santas is Stitchy Karen. So my email is listed below. Shoot me an email, let me know what you won, and I will get those out to you. This time around, we have 3. The first 2 were always, as always, sent in from Carla at Cobweb Corner. I always link Carla's Flosstube down below. What'd she do last time? Did she have a finish? She went to a retreat. She talked all about the Pennsylvania retreat from Steel City Stitchers. And then she's had a finish. She worked on her garden fair, which is a gorgeous giant piece. So she was like surprised that she had so much to show because she doesn't have a lot of time to stitch. So, and then she always does those little restock videos, which are dangerous. So giveaway rules. You need to be over 18 so that you can legally give me your address. Please don't say giveaway or win. I'd appreciate it if you're a subscriber to my channel as well as Carla's channel. Leave the numerical number in your comment, and then I use one of the comment pickers to pick the winners. That is all. Number 1, I went with a bee theme. Not a theme, because it's just the one bee. I picked a bee. This is Little House Needleworks, the Stitching Bee. So this is number 1. And then number 2 is by Sweet Wing Studio. This is a gorgeous chart. This is Forever in Peace. It's 91 by 98. It uses 6 fancy flosses and DMC 3865. And all of the rows of the flag. I love this chart. I might have to get this one for me because it's so pretty. They're all like different designs in different bands. And I just think that's beautiful. So, number 2. And then number 3, we'll do Mary's Extra, just Nan Mouse. Again, with all the little things. I've put one of these together for Donna, but I've never stitched one. Does anyone need a tutorial on how to put these together? You probably want me to do one more before I do that tutorial. That's it. Plans. I want to stitch Honey Fair. I kind of want to just focus on Honey Fair because I signed up for that Satsuma Street stitch along. It's not a yearly, it's 4 parts. It's the 4 seasons Sal. It starts, I believe, the 19th. Oops. I think it starts the 19th. There's only been one little tease. It's the 4 elements. So I went for it. It's a mystery Sal. I haven't done one in a while. Frosted Pumpkin announced theirs this week, and I was so proud of myself for being like, I don't need a big Sal. I can wait. I waited 2 days until Satsuma Street announced hers. She's using Cosmo Floss, which probably an unpopular opinion. I've tried the Cosmo Floss and I didn't think it was anything special. So I'm not going to invest in a whole other set of flosses. She gave a DMC conversion. That's what I pulled. It's stitched on, she said she originally charted it for like a tan, but then she decided to stitch it on a black so the colors would really pop. So I have pulled, it's not black, it's a hand dyed. My black fabric thoughts are the same as my white fabric thoughts in that some of the standard solid colors are just too stiff for me to use. So I think I'm using Fiber on a Whim Night Sky was what I had. It's a deep kind of purplish grayish. It'll be fine. It's not black, but it'll be fine. And it's nice and soft. So if I'm gonna work on something big, I need to be able to enjoy working on it. That's my thought process. Not that anyone asked, but there it is. I think that's it. I'll try and remember to get all my links and stuff in those 2 little videos, and I will see you guys again in a couple weeks. Have a good time. Have a good few weeks. Bye.